We have a layman coming to speak to you at this time. I'm going to let him introduce himself to you. I've asked him to do this for us, and he's agreed to do it.
Thank you, Brother Dean. There may be a few folks out here that might recognize me. I've been around a long time. My name is David Carter. I go to church in Bossier City, Brother Dean's church. And I was raised in the truth. I was born to a family that was very active. My parents were what used to be called tent makers. They had a preacher that they worked with, and they would follow him from town to town and set a tent up and hold a revival, start a small church, and we'd move on to the next town. And I went to 12 elementary schools, and I remember sleeping on the sawdust that I helped my dad put out in the afternoon before service. So I've been around a while, and for about 25 years or so, I've been on these campgrounds from time to time. Spent a lot of time down here when I was a teenager and grew up around this. Married a lovely lady who's also raised in the church, and she's here with us tonight over here, my wife Renee. Got married on Traffic Street in Bossier City, and I have two strong, growing boys. Dean is 13 now, and Jonathan's fixing to be 12. And they're a blessing in my life and have been, and God has blessed me. There's no denying it. I can't tell you all the blessings I've seen and have been a part of my life. I've witnessed healings growing up. I've seen people with visible healings that were undeniable. And in my own life, I've followed the principles of God and the tithing and giving, and I've been real good about that. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I find that to be important, and I keep that as a part of my life. And God has blessed me as a result. I won't bore y'all with the details, but I have a career that is much beyond what I deserve. God has blessed me richly. I'm one of the most blessed people I know. And I was taking it for granted. I had gotten to a point where I had become passive in my religion. I was looking for little excuses to stay home on Wednesday night. The littlest thing. I got home a little bit too late. Well, it was 6:45 instead of 7:30, but I'm tired. I worked hard all day. Got wrapped up in my job that God blessed me with, the job that God gave me. I know He did. It was a miraculous, and I would love to tell you the exact way it happened, but it is an undeniable miracle that I have the job I have. And I let the job that God gave me get me so wrapped up that I was too tired to go to church. And for the last couple of years, I guess I was too tired to witness. I had opportunities, I know, but I haven't taken advantage of them. I'm embarrassed to tell y'all all this, but I made a commitment just a couple of weeks ago that I would do anything that God wanted me to do, and so I'm doing this. I had gotten comfortable. I had gotten real comfortable. And I think it's Brother Dean that has said this time and again, or I've heard it, I know, throughout the years. Like I said, I've been raised in this truth. I've heard a lot of preachers. So sometimes we mistake God's blessings for His approval for what we're doing. It's not that I was lost and going out and doing horrible things or nothing like that. I was still living the Christian life. I just wasn't witnessing like I should have been. I wasn't attending church like I should have been. I was there on most Sunday mornings and some Sunday nights and occasional Wednesday night. But my job was more important, and it had gotten to the point, I was too tired to go to church, and I'd sit down in my recliner, but if my phone rang and it was somebody from work, I was gone back to work and taking care of the job. I've repented over this, and I'm sorry that I was that way. But what's changed that in the last few weeks, I've had a wake-up call. April the 5th, one day after my 15th anniversary, I had a doctor's appointment because I had some blood in my urine. And I say I had blood in my urine. My wife would argue with me and say I had urine in my blood, but it was a lot of blood. And I called my doctor that was taking care of me, and it's, hey man, you're 38 years old, you're in good health. It's no big deal. You probably passed a stone or something, you just didn't feel it. We'll just watch it. If it happens again, I'll send you to a urologist. Well, that was actually the Saturday before my anniversary. On my anniversary night, it happened again. So the next morning, I called to get an appointment with a urologist. And I got one for the next week, and that wasn't good enough. My wife got on the phone and got me in that afternoon. So I went to the doctor that afternoon. And the doctor came in, it was the same kind of thing. Hey, you're 38, you're healthy, you probably passed a stone or something. We're going to set some tests up next week, but today we'll just do a quick CAT scan to make sure you don't have any more stones in there that we need to bump out or anything like that. No big deal. So he sent me to do the CAT scan, and as you can tell, I'm standing up here, it probably wasn't a stone, and it wasn't a stone. The doctor came back in the room after he had looked at the CAT scan, and his demeanor, his face was totally changed. And he said, I hate to tell you, but you got a tumor on your kidney, and it's got to come out. It's big. But it's no big deal, man. You're 38. You're healthy. This is something that happens, and all comers, of all the people that get this, about 80% live, and in 10 years, 80% are still alive, and that includes the 85, 90-year-old guys that get this. So you're young, you're healthy, it's no big deal. You're going to be all right. So they set me up for surgery, I think tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow. Set me up for surgery. And I'm just an impatient kind of guy, so that wasn't good enough for me. So I had to hustle around and get another doctor because I wasn't going to wait that long. So they set me up with another doctor, and I go in, and this doctor comes in, and he's got a little different report. Well, we did see some more stuff on your CAT scan, and actually the lymph node behind your kidney is also enlarged. So we're going to take that out as well. So instead of doing the little laparoscopic procedure or anything like that, we're going to cut you open from about right here to about right here. So I got a big scar across my chest right now because I had the surgery. And the doctors took it out, took the kidney out, got behind there and got the lymph node out and sent it to pathology. And when the pathology report came back, again, the face had fallen even farther when the doctors come in to talk to me, because I have renal cell carcinoma of clear cell variety. I'm 38 years old. And my doctor's like, man, this is not supposed to happen. You're too young to have this. This is not normal. And all of a sudden, that 80-20 that I told you about a while ago is flipped upside down now. Because it was in the lymph node, that means it's in the blood, because the only way you get to the lymph node is by the cells being picked up in the bloodstream. So the possibility of it having metastasized to somewhere else in my body is 80%. 80% chance the doctors are giving me that I will have another tumor. And if I have another tumor, then in medical terms, it's incurable. There's nothing else at that point that they're going to be able to do is what they're telling me. Now, I know, I don't want y'all sitting here all depressed. I know God can heal. I told you, I've seen it. And I'm believing for my healing. I know He can do it. I know He can do it. I know He has done it. He's already provided the healing. I know that. But I'm just trying to tell you the medical stuff so you know where I'm at. Because that afternoon when the doctor came and told us that, I hit a wall, dude. I was face to face with my mortality, my life. I had fear grip me like never, ever before. I want to see my boys grow up. My wife wants me to live to 97 because she's 2 years older than me. She'll be 99. And I want to do that. And without a miracle, that ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen without a miracle. So I'm believing for a miracle, and y'all are going to believe with me. Now, Brother Dean's already promised me one revisit here in 5 years at the 25-year anniversary, because the doctor said if I make it 5 years without a tumor, then I probably have licked it. That's a good benchmark, that I probably have licked it. So Brother Dean's already told me that in 5 years I can come back and speak. And I'm going to take him up on it. The thing is, I wouldn't wish this on nobody. Never. Never, never, never. But by God's help and the miracle in my body, and I live a long time, this is going to turn out to be one of the best things that's ever happened to me, because it woke me up. I'm not a preacher. I don't feel the call to preach. I don't want to preach. But I can witness on the job. Wait a minute. Let's back up a step. I can be at church when the doors are open. I can be at church when the doors are open on Wednesday night for Bible study. I can be at men's conference. I used to come to men's conference till about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, and I quit coming to men's conference. This is the first one I've been to in about 5 years. But I used to come. But the passion had gotten squashed by all the things in my life, the job that I had been blessed with. Here's the thing. My alarm clock went off. And I've committed to my pastor. I've committed to God. I've committed to my family. I'm going to be a better husband. I'm going to be a better father. I'm going to be a better saint for my pastor. I'm going to be a better Christian. My alarm clock went off, and I'm awake now. And I'm awake. Let me say this. I'm awake. Let me wake you up. Wake up. If you're sitting passively by doing nothing, wake up. If you're missing church for no reason, wake up. If you're passing up an opportunity to witness, wake up.